The first shove came so fast she barely had time to exhale. 1 second, Captain Elise Ward was standing at the crowded bar waiting for a glass of water she didn't intend to drink. The next, a Marine twice her size slammed his forearm across her back, pinning her forward as a roar of drunken laughter erupted behind her. She felt the sting of wood under her palms, the sour smell of spilled beer, and the electric silence that followed when the crowd realized she wasn't fighting back. Not yet. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who is listening. Elise didn't react immediately, not because she froze, but because she calculated. She had spent months undercover, living beneath layers of identity like a soldier wearing borrowed skin. Tonight she was Anna, a quiet traveler, the kind of woman who avoided conflict. But beneath that disguise, her pulse was steady, her training coiled like a spring. The Marine Corporal Riker Holt leaned in closer, his breath hot and arrogant. "Didn't hear me ask for your number," he growled. His friends laughed again, the kind of laughter that made Elise think of hyenas circling a kill. The bartender looked up, worried but frozen, as if unsure whether to intervene. Elise's mind flickered back to why she was here in the first place, gathering intel on a trafficking ring that operated out of this very bar. She'd spent long nights memorizing faces, patterns, exits. She was close, painfully close, to identifying the ringleader. She couldn't risk blowing her cover. Not yet. But when Riker tightened his grip and yanked her back against him, something inside her shifted. Mission or not, she thought. No one owns my body. She straightened slowly, letting her hands settle at her sides. Her breath deepened. She could feel the entire room watching, the air thick enough to taste. People whispered. A woman at a nearby table murmured, "She's terrified." But Elise wasn't terrified. She was deciding. Riker laughed again, mistaking her stillness for fear. "That's what I thought," he sneered. "Little thing, like you should be grateful for attention." Micro cliffhanger energy surged through the room, the kind of tension that settles into bones. She thought she'd never see him again after this moment. She was wrong. With quiet, deliberate control, Elise turned her head just enough to meet his eyes. "I'm going to give you one warning," she said softly, her voice almost tender, which somehow made it far more dangerous. "Take your hand off me." The Marine blinked, surprised by the calm steel in her tone. His buddies stopped laughing. Someone set a glass down too hard, and it cracked. Riker smirked. Or what? Elise breathed in, the scent of dust from the open door mixed with the cheap cleaner on the bar top. She counted 3 heartbeats, giving him the grace he didn't deserve. Her elbow shot backward with perfect precision, striking the exact pressure point beneath his ribs. He gasped, folding. Before he recovered, she pivoted on her heel, slid behind him, and swept his leg with a smooth, controlled arc. The crowd collectively inhaled as his back hit the floor with a heavy thud. She didn't gloat, didn't smirk. She simply stepped back, composed, as the bar erupted in stunned murmurs. Riker scrambled up, red-faced with rage and humiliation, lunged again, this time with fury clouding his judgment. Elise could have broken his arm. She could have ended it in seconds. Instead, she caught his wrist mid-swing, twisted it behind his back, and held him firmly in a restraint used only by elite operatives. "Stop," she said, her voice low enough only he could hear. "You're embarrassing yourself." The moral tension rippled through the room, a fine line between justified self-defense and punitive humiliation. Elise felt it. Elise felt it. Even Riker felt it, his breath coming in short bursts of anger and shame. She released him slowly. It's too slowly for his pride. "What are you?" he spat. Before Elise could answer, the back door slammed open. Their eyes locked on her instantly. Recognition. Danger. The kind that froze blood. One muttered. "That's her." Her cover was blown. The room shifted from curiosity to fear. People backed away, chairs scraping. Elise felt it. The change in the air, thick with adrenaline and inevitability. The first man drew a knife. Second pulled a collapsible baton that clicked open like a thunderclap. Elise stepped forward, calm as dusk. She'd trained for chaos. She lived in its jaws. The fight unfolded like a tide, fast, fluid, unstoppable. The knife swung toward her ribs. She redirected it with a wristlock so clean it looked effortless. The baton cracked through the air, but she ducked beneath it, sweeping the attacker off his feet. Chairs toppled, glass shattered. Dart. Riker stared, stunned into silence. Someone whispered, "She's Special Forces. Has to be." Elise didn't confirm it. She simply moved a storm wrapped in discipline. When the last man hit the ground, disarmed and groaning, the bar erupted in applause. Not loud, just enough to acknowledge courage when they saw it. Breathing hard but controlled, Elise surveyed the room. Riker met her eyes, pride finally stripped away. He muttered, "I'm sorry." She nodded. Not out of victory, out of humanity. The police arrived minutes later, taking the traffickers into custody. As they were let out, one officer approached Elise. "We've been after them for a year. Good work." She didn't smile. She simply exhaled, letting the tension melt from her bones. Because justice doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back. Later, as Elise stepped outside, the night breeze carried the scent of rain across the pavement. It reminded her of the moment she first walked into the bar, tense, calculating, uncertain. But now, the storm had passed. The world felt a little safer. A poetic circle closed. Her first shove had been violence. Her last act had been mercy. If this story gripped you, leave your thoughts below, and make sure to subscribe to Whispered Words for more cinematic stories of courage, justice, and humanity. Your support keeps these stories alive.